You guys ready?
These are just the cat's pajamas.
The Downtown Dawgs are brought to you by Lori Clifford of Washington Living, powered by EXP. Lori's helped multiple buyers and sellers from King County to Skagit County. If you need an agent who's going to help get your transaction across the finish line, call Lori Clifford of EXP. I'd like to dedicate today's Downtown Dawgs to my teammates from the original Purple Rain that have passed away. From Breno DeFeo, Walt Hunt, Rod Jones, Ronnie Holmes, Reggie Rogers, Roger Tarver, Freddie Small, and Lance Foray. Rest in peace. God bless. Welcome to the Downtown Dawgs. I'm Jimmy Rogers. The guy behind the camera is Jeffrey Lancaster, and the guy standing next to me is Dan Raley. Dan, how are you today?
I'm good. It always makes my day when I run into Jimmy Rogers.
Do you mind if we talk about you for a minute? I got a list of accolades here. Award-winning writer, received more than 50 national, regional, and Hearst awards. 6-time published author, currently managing and writing for Husky Maven, which is now the Arena Group, or just Sports Illustrated?
Yeah, it's all of that.
Okay. You traveled the world, wrote about airplanes and all things Boeing.
That would be true.
Okay. You were at the Seattle PI, covered 4 dozen major sporting events, including the Super Bowl, Rose Bowl, Masters, NBA Finals, Final Four, and MLB playoffs. Served as a newsroom and front page editor, also worked at MSN and for its global homepage. You've been in 2 dozen magazines, including Golf Magazine, Golf World, Travel and Leisure, and more than a dozen websites, including ESPN, MSNBC, and MLB.com. Currently working on 5 more books, all on request, and I believe you got another 3 or 4 in the queue.
I just got exhausted hearing all that.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Now, we've talked about this potentially being Penix's last game.
Oh, yeah.
I read an
At
article
home,
that
sure.
you wrote the other day,
Right.
last home game, excuse me. I read an article that the Holiday Bowl reached out to you,
Yeah.
and they asked if Notre Dame were to play Washington, would Penix opt out or would he play in the game?
Well, I couldn't make any promises, but there's no way Michael Penix would opt out against Notre Dame. I don't think anybody in their right mind, no matter what kind of pro career they had awaiting them, nobody would opt out on Notre Dame.
But that's not my question, Dan.
No, Michael Penix has never played in a bowl game because of all the injuries he had at Indiana.
That's
He'd run the table with Washington.
still not my question. The Husky Nation wants to know if this is Dan Raley's last home Husky football game.
Not unless I get hit by a bus going home tonight.
How about in terms of writing for Sports Illustrated?
No.
Not at all.
No, not now.
Okay. Now, we were brought together, and I feel a strong bond with you from a mutual friend. And we didn't talk about this interview. We just said we'll meet here at 2 o'clock. But on the count of 3, we're both going to say his name to make sure we're on the same page. 1, 2, 3.
Jack Smith.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about Jack Smith?
Phenomenal sports writer in Seattle for the Seattle Post-Intelligencer and the San Francisco Chronicle, and just had an exquisite way of putting words together. And you met him, and I worked with him, and he's passed away now, but we've never forgotten him.
We've never forgotten him. Jack had numerous stories that we probably can't tell.
Oh, he should have written a book. He tried to, but he didn't get it done before he left us.
Mm-hmm. What else did I want to say about Jack here? Well, I feel like you've been carrying the torch for Jack. I feel like he passed it off to you, and I almost feel like you are the last of the Mohicans. No disrespect to Dick Rotney, Steve Kelly, Art Teal, missing one here, Blaine Newman.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Yeah. Well,
But I feel like you've been going hard. You've been writing on an average of 4 articles a day. I mean, that's just incredible about Husky football. Now you're starting to morph into basketball, Washington basketball. How do you do it?
Well, it's in my blood. I mean, all those other guys retired, and I don't know if I'd ever retire because I don't know what I'd do. I mean, I travel right now a little bit as it is while I'm writing, and I've traveled the world and I worked for Boeing and, traveled the country and the world. And so I'm not done yet. I'm a kind of a young old man.
With this current Husky team, do you have a favorite player, Dan?
Well, I really enjoy talking to Penix. I mean, and Jackson Kirkland is right up there. They're all, Roma Dunze is a classic guy. Usually teams have a lineup, a roster just like modern day America where there's good guys and bad guys. But boy, most of these guys on this Washington team are kind of handpicked and just know how to handle themselves and are really, really personable. And we're just too lucky that way. I mean, usually you just want a good football player. You don't care what kind of character or attitude he has. The coaches might, but the fans don't care. And no, these guys are all high level characters.
I met Roma Dunze and I was just extremely impressed. What a nice young man.
Yeah, and he's from Las Vegas and would have every reason to be kind of flashy and kind of, full of himself. But boy, he's the total opposite. He's, wherever he goes in the NFL, they're going to love him because he's just kind of a commercial waiting to happen.
One of my favorites is Cam Davis, and I wish they'd give him the ball a little bit more.
Yeah, well, they've got a system, and Tuala Papa, he's a good, reliable back, but, Cam Davis is the flashy one. He's the one you're going to see break an 80-yarder one of these days and go the distance. He's the fastest running back on that football team, so his time will come. He's only a sophomore. Tuala Papa is a senior, kind of a plug-in this year to help get him started, and I think next year it'll all be the Cam Davis show.
And my favorite player of all is Jackson Kirkland, and not just because I know his dad and his dad played for the Huskies, but the what he's been through. I mean, my gosh, from the ankle injury to trying to get back into the Pac-12. I mean, when you go through that type of, trials and tribulations, you gain so much knowledge, but it really tests your character, and he sure has come through in flying colors.
Yeah, he's been into everything. I mean, he's had injuries. He's been great at tackle. Now he's a guard. He had to petition the NCAA to be able to play this year, and it was really a struggle. And so, I mean, he's been battle tested every which way, but, he's a pretty tough, pretty strong guy, and he's handled it, and he wanted to come back and go out on his terms with the Huskies, and he's absolutely doing that. And then we'll see him in the NFL no matter where he gets drafted, and he's going to be a good pro football player.
Great. Can you tell us a little bit about this Colorado team?
Horrible. Terrible.
So do you have a prediction then? I mean, Vegas has us at 31-point favorites.
Yeah, something like that. They're 1-9, and the one game they won was in overtime over California, which has a losing record, and they don't have a coach. They have an interim coach, but they don't have a head coach right now. So guys have got to flee the system, and they don't really have any recruits lined up right now because they don't have a coach. So they're a mess, and I can't believe it because they were pretty good not too long ago. They played Washington in the Pac-12 championship game, and so they've got a long road back.
Now there's a lot of talk about what it will take for Washington to win the Pac-12. It's a very low percentage, but I'm going to give it a shot, and then you can correct me, okay? So for starters, Oregon has to beat Utah today, and then Oregon has to lose to Oregon State the following week. USC has to win out.
Yeah.
What am I missing?
UCLA's in the mix if they beat USC today.
But USC winning out would take out UCLA.
Yeah, they'd probably put them in the college football playoff, the Trojans. And that's my pick. I mean, I think they'll get in the championship game, and I think Oregon doesn't have healthy Bo Nix right now. They're in danger of losing both the Utah game and the Oregon State game. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a USC-Utah championship game. I think 2 losses really kind of hurts the Huskies, and they just better hope for a good New Year's Day Bowl or a Holiday Bowl against Notre Dame would be fantastic.
Fantastic. Coming off a monumental victory at Oregon, at Eugene. Let's talk about recruiting. What does that do for recruiting?
Well, that was their bowl game. I mean, I don't care if they play Notre Dame or go to the Rose Bowl. Beating Oregon just pretty much capped off this season, and it improved recruiting quite a bit because that's Washington's chief rival for talent. And so that Oregon game is bigger than you can imagine in every which way. As far as putting this program on the map with Kalen DeBoer, it was on the map already, but the Oregon game really solidified everything, and it's just going to pay off huge dividends. You know, every quarterback, top-rated quarterback in the country is going to want to come here after they've seen what he's done with Penix leading the nation in passing and running up, almost 40 points a game. This is going to be a destination place for college football players in the not-too-distant future.
That's Dan Raley on the Downtown Dawgs. Thank you very much, Dan.
Good to see you, Jimmy.
With Banger, Leonard.
Yeah.
Tell us, what do you do, Leonard?
Well, you and I know each other from way back when. I'm
Right.
from Beaverton High School.
Right.
Yeah. So, Aloha?
Aloha High School.
Oh,
Very good.
boy, that was a good
District 48.
one. Yeah.
District 48. Did you run the Ram for some time?
Yeah, I still work for the Ram.
You still work for the Ram.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, last week's game, monumental.
Monumental.
Yeah.
So I watched it with 6 fraternity brothers. When we won, we went ballistic. And it was so much fun.
And the Husky performance, we did give up 596 yards.
We just wanted to make them feel like it was they had a shot.
We played possum.
Yeah, we played
We played
possum a little
possum,
bit,
and then
yeah.
Nick's thought, I don't need to put a move on. I can just run straight over this guy.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
It didn't work out so well.
Well, we're this weekend or this game today, we're hoping that Jack Westover is going to show up again, and he's going to score 2 touchdowns, I think.
Jack Westover, I think, is going to be one of these guys that quietly plays in the NFL for 10 years.
It might be.
Yeah.
So we're excited about him. So we lived through Brent Westover, his dad, and he's Jack even said that his dad, and it's true story, that he was not going to go. If he went to Oregon, it's the only school he could get into. His dad wasn't paying for it.
He would not pay.
And neither would any of his other fraternity brothers. So
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Now we have to give a big shout out to the Oregon coach. I mean, what was it, 4th and 2 on his own 20?
Oh boy.
Yeah. So NIL.
How do you do that?
NIL portal, all the money that Uncle Phil can sum up. Can't fix stupid.
No, can't fix stupid.
Can't fix stupid.
Yeah.
All right, Banger.
Hey.
Downtown Dawgs.
Good to see you.
Good to see you
Yeah.
too. Thanks a lot. Get you on mic. You're on the Downtown Dawgs with Jimmy Rogers. Nice to meet you.
Jimmy, nice to meet you too.
Would you have any predictions about today, or would you like to talk about Oregon's game last week,
Oh,
or
my
whatever
God.
you want to talk about?
That was a great game. Last week was great.
Monumental.
Monumental. Yes. Yes, they'll win today, of course.
Okay.
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah. Because, we've been doing this for 40, 50 years.
Oh my gosh, fantastic. What's the name of the boat?
Sun Tour.
Sun Tour.
Sun Tour.
Well, thank you very much, ma'am. It was nice meeting you. Go Dogs. Rogers, you're on the Downtown Dawgs.
There we go.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, this is one of a kind.
And last week's game, monumental.
Monumental.
And
a really, a dead duck is a dead duck.
a dead duck's a good duck.
Nah, it's a good duck. It's a dead duck.
And what a wonderful call by their coach to go for it on 4th and 2 on their own 20.
Wasn't that? That was beautiful. Beautiful.
All the money in the world can't fix that.
Well, the wind does.
The wind does.
The
Yes,
wind
it does.
does.
And any predictions for today?
So I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Where are you from?
I'm from Ashland, Oregon, and I came to Seattle in 1980 to play for Don James, and I was a co-captain in the 85 Orange Bowl.
We were right down here during the Don James days.
I know you were.
Right here. It was beautiful.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, this is one of a kind tradition in the country.
That's absolutely right.
On campus boating, right?
Great.
Generation. That boat has 4 generations.
Wow, fantastic.
Our friends.
Well,
Correct.
thank you so much for your time,
thanks for
sir. I
stopping
appreciate
by.
it, okay?
Well, thank you.
Go Dogs.
Yeah, you got it, guys.
It's nice to meet you.
You
too.
bet.
My pleasure, sir.
Downtown Dawg. All right.
Okay, so last week's game, huge.
Huge, absolutely huge. That's one of the big victories of the decade.
Did you have a favorite play?
Well, yeah, when they fell down on 4th down, that was the favorite play.
I actually think he was going to get hit pretty good. He went to cut because he had a D lineman coming down on him, but he did slip on the cut. What about the Oregon coach going for it on 4th and 2 on his own 20?
Well, stupid is as stupid does.
Can't fix that stuff, can you? And predictions for today?
Washington by 28.
Next week?
Next week, Washington by 17.
Wow, Washington by 17
You got
in the
it.
Apple Cup. Well, thank you very much, sir. Nice meeting you.
You bet. Go Dogs.
Go Dogs. Rogers, you're on the Downtown Dawgs. Nice to meet you, sir. Any comments about the season, about DeBoer, about the Oregon game, about the game today?
Oh, it's been fabulous. I'm enjoying it. I'm sorry about Arizona State, and I'm sorry about UCLA, but we've been looking good ever since. So
I'm Jimmy Rogers with the Downtown Dawgs. What's your name?
Scott, how you doing?
What's your last name?
Robertson.
Scott Robertson. What's the
Yeah.
name of your boat?
Euphoria.
Euphoria. Perfect. Do you have any words about? We remember this guy from
This is our
last
guy. This is
season.
right here.
That's our guy. Now
is
you
Jim.
predicted we were going to beat Montana 50-something to 0. 70 to 0. Anyhow, how are you, sir?
We beat Oregon.
We beat Oregon. That's all. That's all that counts. That's all that counts. What's your name?
Jim.
Jim. I appreciate your enthusiasm. Go Dogs.
go Dogs!
Town Dogs. How are you?
I'm good.
What's your name?
I'm Wendy.
Wendy and
Stacy.
Stacy and
Megan.
Megan. Nice to meet you three. Any thoughts about the season, about Coach DeBoer, about the Oregon game?
Oh my God, he's divine. He's just the cat's pajamas. Super excited to have him.
Did you say the cat's pajamas?
Cat's pajamas.
I haven't heard that before. That's up there at the bee's knees.
Exactly. Exactly.
We're so excited. He has done such a great job with the team, and to go out and beat Oregon last week, oh, so fun. So we're really looking forward to homecoming tonight.
Fantastic. And ma'am, you're hiding back there a little bit. Do you have anything you'd like to say?
Oh, it's been an amazing season, and I'm just so excited to be here again for another great game. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, ladies, and let's get a win today, okay?
Yes, go
Okay,
Dogs!
go.
Dogs!
Jenny, okay. Jimmy Rogers, Downtown Dawgs. How are you?
I'm great. How are you,
I'm
Jimmy?
doing fine,
I remember
thank
you
you.
being a star football player here at UW.
Well, thanks for that. Let's talk more about that, huh? Good looking. There you go. Good looking guy wearing the Warren Moon jersey. Is that Warren Moon or John Ross?
No, that would be Nolan.
Rome and Dunze. Good call. I forgot about Rome. Is that your favorite player? Okay, mine too. What do you think? What do you think? Huh? Yep. She came up and introduced herself last year. No? Okay. What you think?
Oh, I think we're probably going to go. What do you think, Joe?
How about our quarterback?
I would say
How about our quarterback? He is a top
42
10 draft pick. People
to
don't think
10.
so, but he is.
42 to 10.
He's the best quarterback in the Pac-12.
Leading the nation in passing yards.
Well, yeah. And they protect him. That offensive line, he has all day. The offensive line is way better than people think.
The offensive coordinator's up for assistant coach of the year.
Might as well be. He's good.
Might as well be.
I'm going 45-10 Dogs.
45 to 10.
That's right on the line.
Gary Brott, did you have a
Yeah, 48-14.
48-18? Any thoughts about the Oregon game?
Oh, that was the best game in 20 years.
We finally did it, didn't we?
And then let's leap forward and talk about the Apple Cup.
That could be a problem. That's going to be a problem.
I'm a little nervous about that one, to be honest. But I think we'll win, but it's going to be tough.
State, I've always really liked the people.
I like the Beavers.
Yeah, the Beavers are good.
Yeah, all the way back to Joe Avizano.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
King salmon going right
Oh
there,
my
Columbia
God,
River.
Look at that. No, don't run. You've already been on the Downtown Dawgs. How are you? Joe Steele with Jimmy Rogers on the Downtown Dawgs. How you doing, Joe?
I'm doing good, Jim.
You're looking great. Do you remember Jeffrey Lancaster?
I sure do. I think we met at
And I don't think you've met Lori, my girlfriend.
Hi, Lori. How are you? Nice to meet you.
Now, Joe still doesn't need an introduction, so we're just going to get right into it. Oregon game.
Outstanding.
Good news.
Great for the program. Great for the community.
Recruiting.
Yeah, the whole thing.
We stole their recruits.
Well, hopefully we will. It's going to take some time, and Oregon's what they are, which is a great program, and we're developing a great program here. So it's all good.
You got to be happy with DeBoer.
I think looks like he's done a great job, and love the offense and love what he's done there.
Now
and
the defense,
opening it up a little bit.
Sorry to interrupt you. The defense did give up 596 yards.
Yeah, well, you got to. That's Oregon, and
Yeah.
that Bo Nix is a good little player, and they're doing their thing down there, and they always will. We got to just make sure we're chasing them.
Now, as players, we know better than to overlook this game onto the Apple Cup, but as fans, it's okay. We can do that. So let's talk about the Apple Cup. I'm a little worried.
They look good today. I watched
Yeah.
them. I watched the Cougs a little bit today.
Who were they playing? Was it?
They played Arizona
Arizona.
down there, so they're on the road, and they look pretty good.
Is that game over?
That game's over. I think the last I saw was 31-13. So I don't know
Okay.
if that was with 4 minutes to go in the game. So
Okay.
yeah. So that was, hey, the Apple Cup's always going to be competitive. The home team has a big advantage, typically, I think, which is so going over there is tough. And depending on what time that game is, I'm hoping it's not a 7:30 start on a Saturday night.
Now, excluding your knee injury, did you play in 3 Apple Cups?
I played in 2 Apple Cups.
Only 2. So you didn't play your freshman year.
My freshman year, I separated my shoulder the previous weekend against SC down there.
Okay.
And I was out that week. Ronnie Rowland had a great game. I think he went off for 195 plus yards.
So were
he
you
had a great time there.
Were you 2 for 2 then against the
so
Cougars?
Then we were actually 4 for 4.
But
But during my year. So then we played my sophomore year, and we played here in an ice. Everything was iced over here. And anyway, that was our shot to the Rose Bowl.
Okay.
So that was my sophomore year, and then the next year we played over there, and we ended up not going to a bowl game. But we had a nice success against them. Jack Thompson was their quarterback, and I had a decent game that day. And
what's a
nice
decent game to you?
Well, I had about 190 plus yards too, which was a good day. And then so then we ended up breaking a record, which was been there for many years. My whole team made the record. It wasn't
What was
just
the
me.
record?
The record was single season rushing,
which was
about 1,100.
And has it been
1,100, 11 yards?
Does it stand?
I'm number 5, I think, on the list today, so it's definitely been beat.
Sure.
Yeah.
With
So
these
that was.
high-potent offenses
and then my senior year, I didn't get the opportunity to play. But that Apple Cup was fun over there and actually we played in Spokane.
So your 78 Rose Bowl, I believe you needed SC to beat UCLA?
Yeah. So we
Is
won.
that correct?
We won here the previous week, and then they had a game scheduled later the next weekend. And
that season was, I think, Don's third.
Yeah.
That was Don's third season, and you started out 1-3 maybe.
Yep.
So not looking good.
No. And they were they were close games. I mean, we lost 2 by last-second field goals. One in Syracuse, and then one in Minnesota. So it was tough. And Don, that was tough because they were on him.
Now, one of my favorite stories, if you don't mind telling us, Joe, is the next game after you were 1-3, I believe, was at Oregon.
Yep.
And you were required to take one bus ride to a Pac-10 game, Pac-8 at that time.
Yep.
And so the bus ride was to Eugene.
Yep. So every year you had to take one, and that was back in those days. And so we took a bus ride out of here, and we get down to Oregon, and you're talking about the bus driver,
right?
So what happens is the younger guys were always in the front bus with Don's bus, and the older guys
bus number one
on
with
the
Don
second
James.
Bus. So I was sitting there watching this transpire, and the front bus, the second bus passes the front bus, and so Don said, pass it, so he gives them a little bit of direction. So this bus driver, they kind of got into it a little bit, and the bus driver basically says, I'm done. And he pulls the bus off the freeway, goes to the bus station down there in Portland at the time, and says, gets off the bus and quits. So we're sitting there with 60 guys on this bus and 60 guys on the other bus, and it was unbelievable to watch that transpire. But it really was Don's, he was trying to develop something here, and that was part of it, is being the leader, and he had his way of doing things, which we've all talked about these stories. But that was a great, really interesting. So they got another bus driver, and we went down. But it was that transformation. I mean, that game was so pivotal, and we went into Oregon and just throttled them. 54-0, 52-0. Was it 52-0 or 54?
It was nothing.
Yeah, it was
the
nothing.
important
on
thing,
their
it was
side.
0.
Yeah, and so it was. But it's interesting back then, and you asked about the Cougars. I mean, and we didn't lose to a Pac-12 school, or excuse me, we didn't lose to a Pac-8 Northwest
school
until 82, 83.
And part of the goals Don would set forward was win the state and then win the Northwest.
Yeah,
and same philosophy in recruiting.
Yeah.
So Don did something for the first time, which really to me was special to hear the story from you when you were on the show. He went around to every player in the locker room before the Oregon game,
Yeah, it was a real transformation there, and in fact, I remember just succinctly what happened, because the Daily, which is the University of Washington paper, came out with a little thing, and it was an article, and they interviewed Blair Bush, and Blair was one of the senior leaders on the team, and he basically kind of said, you know, we don't have a lot of interaction with the coach, between the coaches and the players, and and that's a little bit about why we're 1-3, and and it just there was a lot. James was going through a lot, so that was the first game, and Don walked around to every player in that locker room before the game started, and shook their hands, said, "Go get him, have a good day," and he did that. I'm sure he did it to the end of his career.
1980, I think I had 2 conversations with Coach James, and neither one of them were fun. And then I'm sitting in front of my locker getting ready to come out of the tunnel, my first game in Huskyville, and I'm looking down at the ground, and I see these size 7 Adidas. I look up, and it's Don James, and he's shaking my hand, and he says, "I heard you like to hit 39. Have fun today." And it just elevated me 5 feet off the ground.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
That was, in fact, somebody asked me recently, your interaction with Don, when was it the most? And I said, when it was? It was on the sideline during a game. It was the one time that he would kind of let his hair down, and he'd come over and say, "How you doing? How you feeling? What are we doing here?" And so he was actually, it was the one moment that I felt like I really had that interaction with him, kind of one-on-one, and he'd kind of let his guard down a little bit and check you out and see if you're okay. So It was really special. It was really fun. Yeah.
Well, this is the Downtown Dawgs. Is one of the greatest Huskies of all times, Joe Steele. Thank you very much,
Absolutely.
Joe.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Take care, buddy. Can we get a quick word with you? This is Jimmy Rogers with the Downtown Dawgs. How are you, sir?
Good, just fine.
What's your name?
Kettner, Sheehan.
Sheehan Kettner. You look familiar.
Yeah, well.
I thought you were George Clooney at first.
There you go. No, thank you very much.
Brad Pitt?
Yeah. No,
No?
but thank you.
Okay, neither one.
Had a lot of
Joey.
Joey, I'm Jimmy. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Go Dogs?
Go Dogs.
Are you happy with your dogs?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I bet.
Always.
Coach DeBoer?
Yes.
Oregon Ducks?
No.
Bad. Okay. Teammate from the 1985 Orange Bowl champions, Bruce Kroon.
Yeah.
Retired?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Working on it.
Aren't you like the chief of
Bottle Fire?
Chief of Bottle Fire.
Yep.
Congratulations
Thanks,
on that.
sir. Yep.
How are things?
Going good.
You got to be happy with your dogs.
Oh, ecstatic! This is great. Last week was awesome. Looking forward to a good game this week.
It's
Apple Cup.
It's amazing what a game like that does for the city.
Oh my gosh, it was so fun. It was just it was invigorating. I was so pleased. It's just over the moon.
Now,
Still getting there.
Bruce was part of the original Purple Rain, and guess what position he played? Laurie, Jeffrey, fullback.
Nope. Nose guard. D-line.
Nose guard. How many pounds ago?
Oh, few. Not too many though. I was only
you're-
about 255 at the heaviest. So
Yeah,
about
you're
20
pretty
pounds.
lean for a nose guard, though.
Oh yeah, small at the time.
So
yeah.
we dedicated this, the Downtown Dawgs today to Rod Jones,
Okay.
Reggie, Ronnie, Freddie,
Oh, gosh.
Breno,
Oh,
Walt,
man. Wow.
Roger,
Yeah. Tarver. Yeah.
Lance Fourier.
We got
I
Breno.
said Breno, yeah, we said Breno. So it's rest in peace.
Yep.
And from the Downtown Dawgs and the original Purple Rain and the Orange Bowl champions.
There we go.
Did you get inducted into the
We
University
did
of
with
Washington?
you. Yeah.
We did?
Yeah, the whole team.
Did you get a ring?
Before I got the ring. I don't have it on today, but I got it.
You're
I
not-
almost wore my
why
jacket.
aren't you wearing it?
I almost wore a jacket today.
All that.
I try to wear it to one game a year.
Thanks, Bruce. Good
Hey,
to
buddy.
see you,
Good
pal.
to see you. All right.
How are you, sir?
You should still be playing.
Well, thank you for remembering. What's your name?
Greg.
Class of
71.
Class of 71.
Well, 75. Actually.
75. Well, you're looking good, Greg.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
We're here doing what we do.
You must be happy with your dogs.
Last week was very exciting.
Overwhelming.
Unfortunately, I wasn't at the game, which would have been more exciting.
That's
but
okay.
Usually it's not much fun
We
down
still
there.
won. Any predictions for today?
I think we'll win easily.
Should we jump forward to the Apple Cup, or would you rather not talk about that
No,
yet?
we're not going to talk
Yeah,
about that.
okay. We'll keep
We're
that
not
quiet.
gonna talk
John what?
John Evans.
John Evans, Jim Rogers. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. So what are you guys doing?
Well, we're with the Downtown Dawgs. We're
Okay.
going to get a few predictions and see how the Huskies feel today. And
Well, the Huskies always feel good.
Yeah.
After last week?
after last week.
Yeah, 30-point favorites. 20-point game probably.
Okay. Do
Be
you
my
want-
prediction.
Okay, so we win today.
Yes.
and we're fans, so it's okay for us to jump ahead to the Cougars because I don't think it really matters what happens on the field with what we say.
Well, probably.
Okay.
That's
so,
true.
So, any predictions for the Apple Cup?
Dogs by 10 to 12.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. 10 to
Cougars
12.
are pretty good. They're handling Arizona today.
Yeah.
Arizona that beat UCLA last week.
Yeah.
Apple Cup will be tough.
Cougars are tough.
And it's
always
cold.
tough.
Yeah,
And
it's
it's in
cold.
Pullman.
Yes.
Okay. Well, nice
All right.
to meet you,
All
sir.
right.
Go
You
Dogs.
too. All right. Go Dogs.
The Dogs are going to win.
They are going to win. Okay. Well, at least you're honest.
I am.
Okay. Well, I guess that's it. Son,
No, I don't.
Yo, you really don't?
No.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, how are you?
Good, man.
Good to see you. All right. I'm doing good. Can you introduce yourself?
Nick Scott.
And young, little Nick? Or?
Yeah, Junior.
Yeah, Junior Nick.
Yep.
And you must be happy with your dogs?
Oh, super happy.
Yeah.
Super happy, yeah.
Okay. Any predictions today?
Oh, it's Huskies all the way.
All the way.
All the
okay.
way. All the
Okay.
way
You
for
must-
sure.
You must be extremely happy about that Oregon game.
I tell you, I was blaming my husband for bringing me into football because I almost had a heart attack, but he said, no, it was my boys.
Yeah. There you go. There
It
you
was
go.
great. It was great.
Fantastic.
Welcome to the tailgate.
Thank you. Thanks for
Yeah.
being on the show.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What are the Hell's Angels
So,
here or
Mike,
something?
we've known each other
Oh,
since
so
the
you're still
80s.
fighting, huh?
I'm
You're
still
still
fighting.
bar fighting, huh?
Joe Steele and the Orange Bowl champions.